All rise.
I want viewers watching my show to believe in themselves.
Judge Hatchett is compelling.
I was not the first one to throw a walk.
Let me just tell you what you just said.
Compassionate.
I really enjoy being a judge. Now I am touching people who I will never know I touched.
She's powerful.
You should have never let them walk out of your life when she was 3.
And she's on the bench.
Don't get me preaching up in here today.
Right.
You're watching The Verdict with Judge Hatchett. Stephanie Noth is suing Marjorie Convey in the amount of $942.89. Ms. Noth claims Ms. Convey owes her for an emergency vet bill she had to pay while the defendant's dog was in her care. Ms. Convey claims Ms. Noth was negligent while watching her dog, which is why the animal had to go to the vet, so she refuses to pay for the visit.
Oh, I understand we have 2 neighbors. Been neighbors for a long time.
Yes.
How many years have you been neighbors?
Marjorie and I have been neighbors and friends for the past 8 years since I moved into my house.
All right. You're suing for $942 and some change. What's
Yes.
the problem?
Well, the problem is that Marjorie has had my son Charlie and I watch her dog several times when she has things to do or go out of town. And this particular time she went out of town to see the birth of her granddaughter.
And so, Ms. Convey, you asked her to watch your dog?
Yes, to watch my dog Buster. He's 8 years old. He's an older boxer.
Okay.
And it's very, very hot in Phoenix where we live. I gave her 3 instructions, Your Honor. 1, of course, 2 meals a day. 2nd, a leash when she walks him. And the most important right now,
Rules that we followed all the
the
time.
most important, please, is keep him inside because of the heat and his age.
Was this a new directive, different from the last time that he stayed with them?
I've become aware lately that he needed to be indoors because of his age, and I was concerned.
That was nothing that was stressed. You know, this is something, like I said, we've watched her dog several times. We know when to feed him. We know when to walk him. And we know that it's hot outside. It's hot for us as well. And we've done nothing outside of the norm of what we've done for him before.
Anyway, Your Honor, I thought that she was going to be looking after him in my absence.
And what happened?
Well, this one particular day, I'm a nurse. I had to work a double shift. I had to leave my son in charge of Buster. And when I come home, I noticed...
Well, just a second. In the complaint, I understand, though, that Marjorie was left longer than you were anticipating.
Yes, she called and she said that she wanted to stay a couple more days and visit with her new grandchild. So when I came home from work that evening, I noticed that Buster was acting a little lethargic. He was panting. He didn't want to drink the water. He didn't want to eat. And my son had taken him outside. I don't know how long he was outside, but he had taken him outside because he thought he needed some fresh air. So I then decided to take him to the vet.
All right.
I took him to her vet, and her vet was not open.
Okay.
So I had my son Google another vet, and we found one that was open, and it was 2 cities away.
Oh.
But I still took my time after a double shift to drive her dog to the vet to make sure that he was okay.
All right.
And the vet said that Buster had some pre-existing heart and blood vessel condition that could lead to heat exhaustion or heat stroke.
All right. And so what's the problem? I mean, it seems to me that she took the dog, took Buster to the vet. She tried to take him to your vet. The vet was closed. She drives 2 cities over to take Buster to the vet.
Your Honor, when I told her that I was going to be late a few days, I mean, if I had known, if she had called me and let me know that she was going to be doing a double shift, that she was not going to be watching him, that Charlie, her 14-year-old son, was going to be in charge of him, I might have reconsidered coming back sooner. But Charlie was in charge of him. Charlie let him go outside in the backyard.
I didn't
and
call
he got ill there. He disobeyed, my request because she wasn't strong enough in letting Charlie know
I wanted her to
what
be
he
able
should
to
be
spend
doing.
more time with her new grandchild.
That was very
Since
nice.
the vet said the dog was okay there, and then I didn't feel it was necessary for me to bother her on her trip.
Stephanie, I appreciate it, but it was the wrong thing to do because he got sick out there. He got sick out there.
Not only that, she started texting me on my job. while I was at work. And
course.
she's basically screaming at me through these text messages, asking me what's wrong with her dog. And I told her, I'm at work right now. I will have to see you when I come back. And she was still texting me.
Your Honor, when I got back,
Wait, do you have a problem? She is doing you a huge favor. Buster gets sick, she takes him to the vet, and you're saying it's because of her son that he got sick, and you're blaming her for leaving Buster with a kid who is 14?
Yes.
14 years old.
What I feel, Your Honor, is that she was negligent in not being insistent to her son when she wasn't able to be there, that he needed to
My
keep
son
the
had
dog.
taken care of the
Excuse
dog
me for a
plenty of
moment.
times before.
He needed to keep Buster inside. She wasn't clear with Charlie, her son, and because of that, all of these problems began. All of this bills.
It's because of the pre-existing condition that
Your Honor,
these
I
things
have here,
happened.
I took Buster to my own vet the next day. Here is a letter from the vet saying that the condition was never an issue in the past, nor do I believe that it has played a part in this incident. The vet, my vet, who's
I
known
also have proof from the vet that I took him to where they ran several tests, and it also says that the existing heart and blood vessel disease could have played a part in what happened.
No, Your Honor, my vet said that it played no part in this issue here, and that the problem was caused by heat stroke. Because he's a boxer, because dogs cannot handle heat. And by the way, I Googled the temperature of the day that he was left out there. It was 90 degrees, it was 95 degrees. We
And it
live
wasn't
in
necessary that
Arizona,
he was
Phoenix,
left out
Arizona.
there. We don't know
Everybody
how long
knows
he was there.
you don't leave a dog outside uncovered in such heat. It is her responsibility to have brought him inside, or at least let her son know to bring him inside.
Coming up on The Verdict with Judge Hatchett.
I do not believe, Your Honor, it's my responsibility to pay such a huge vet bill. And I had to pay another bill the next day anyway.
And later,
It should be fair for me to get paid because I am still doing my own job and I am still doing the responsibilities which were carried by Maria.
you're watching The Verdict with Judge Hatchett. The Verdict with Judge Hatchett is back with the case of Stephanie Knopf, who is suing Marjorie Convy for veterinary expenses.
You have some information for me as well. Do I have
Yes.
both of those? Marjorie, I'm at work. Please stop. And she says, stop. I'm at work. I'll be over when I get off. Why can't you just accept that?
Buster is my family. He's my only family where I live. He's my baby, and I was concerned, very concerned. I don't want anything to happen to him at this time. I do not believe, Your Honor, it's my responsibility to pay such a huge vet bill. And I had to pay another bill the next day anyway to get him rechecked. I do not believe this bill is my primary responsibility. I'm sorry.
Well, let me tell you what I think. And at the end of the day, what I think is what counts, right? You have a neighbor who you've relied on several times before, and you rely on them once again. Even when you said, I'm going to stay a little longer, she said, fine.
Yeah.
She had to work a double shift. It was not irresponsible, in my opinion, that she leave Buster with a 14-year-old kid. She'd done it before. It had happened before. Now, what the vet says that she took him to, and of course she made every effort to get Buster to your vet, but the vet was closed. You think you're upset now. What if she had not gone and made the effort to go 2 cities over to take him to the vet, and Buster had died? You would have been absolutely beside yourself. And so instead of resisting paying the vet bill, you should be happily paying this bill for Buster's care. And let me tell you why. Because she could have said, well, he doesn't look so good, and, you know, we'll give him some water, and then he does die. And then your answer would have been to her, how could you have done this? How could you have let him die? But yet, after working 2 shifts, she drives 2 cities over to see them. The vet that she took Buster to said that this could have been a pre-existing condition. Perhaps your vet had overlooked that. In any event, I think you should be thanking her. She did the responsible thing. She incurred a bill of almost $950, and you should not even hesitate. You should pay her the $942.89 to be exact, and then you should thank her because what she did probably saved Buster's life. There's nothing further. Judgment for the plaintiff as so outlined.
Judge Hatchett has ruled in favor of the plaintiff. The defendant has been ordered to pay $942.89.
I value our friendship, and I don't want it to end over a dog. But like the judge said, you have to pay your vet bill.
Look, at the end of the day, Buster is all right, so it's a small price to pay for the love of my dog.
Coming up.
It should be fair for me to get paid at least partially the rate which was Maria paid, because I am still doing my own job and I am still doing the responsibilities which were carried by Maria.
You're watching The Verdict with Judge Hatchett. Irina Petrov is suing Melissa Benson in the amount of $2,400. Ms. Petrov claims Ms. Benson doubled her workload, but she never paid her for the extra work, nor did she give her a pay increase. Ms. Benson claims she paid the plaintiff, and she believes Ms. Petrov is trying to take advantage of her.
You were employed by Ms. Benson as a nanny, is that correct?
Correct.
And I understand from the complaint that you were caring for 3 of her children, but there was also another nanny when you first started.
When I started, it wasn't another nanny, it was a cleaning lady who worked there, Maria, and that lady quit after 1 month working there. I ended up working for this family for 3 months altogether.
Okay, 3 months.
The first month was okay. I was a nanny, and Maria would clean the house, she would do all the chores, and that's what I was told. I was told that I'll be working with her.
All right, Ms. Benson, what was the arrangement? She was to be employed as a nanny, and you also had a housekeeper who was doing the housework. Is that correct?
Primarily, although they were expected to do both. Maria would help with the kids occasionally, and Irina was supposed to help clean as well.
Did Ms. Benson hire somebody to take on Maria's responsibilities?
No, she didn't. And I was asking her about that, and she kept telling me that she's looking for a candidate and that it's going to happen, it's going to happen. And to me, it seemed that she just kept postponing and tried not to talk about it. I have evidence here of my text messages to
All right,
her.
I'd like to see those. The real critical question is, for those 8 weeks after Maria left, you had to assume both responsibilities? Thank you.
That's exactly right, Your Honor. It should be fair for me to get paid at least partially the rate which was Maria paid, because I am still doing my own job and I am still doing the responsibilities which were carried by Maria.
So she didn't increase your pay at all?
Excuse me,
She
Your Honor.
did not increase the pay, but she gave me $300 on the 3rd week after Maria left, after me approaching Ms. Benson about that. And she said she found the candidate, she's going to interview her, and she was explaining to me that she cannot bring a stranger to the house, and I get it. I understand.
I understand.
But then she kept postponing the talk about how much I'm getting paid.
But
And,
you got paid one time an extra $300 in those 8-week periods.
No, then on the 6th week, she gave me another $300 because I started telling her that she should find somebody else.
Coming up.
I'm sorry if I'm not that good of a cleaner, but I wasn't
But that's what
planning
you were
on
hired to
doing that.
do. You were not hired to be the cleaner.
You're watching The Verdict with Judge Hatchett. The Verdict with Judge Hatchett is back with the case of Irina Petrov, who is suing Melissa Benson for unpaid wages.
You have a situation where you had 2 people, one who was primarily the nanny and the other who was primarily the housekeeper. Now the housekeeper is gone, and for 8 weeks, basically you have one person required to cover both responsibilities.
Technically, yes.
Technically,
However, I have 3 kids.
right?
So I made them help with the chores, the house chores. So they helped pick up their own room. There wasn't really a lot of house chores. I mean, we do have a big house, but, you know, we make sure that it stays pretty clean. And when Irina was supposed to be cleaning as well, she didn't do that great of a job. So I don't feel that it's fair that she would get double her wages just because Maria left. And I tried to compensate her while I was trying to find someone new by giving her bonuses. We had an arrangement worked out where it was $700 a week. I have right here the work agreement.
Okay, I'd like to see that. And you had an arrangement
Yes.
when Maria was there.
Yes.
$700 a week.
Yes.
All
And
right.
so we said that that would be the arrangement. She'd be there 5 days a week. And if the situation changed, we would talk about it, which the situation did change. And that is what we talked
Excuse
about.
me, Your Honor.
Yes.
May I say something? And we never really talked about it. It was always about, I'm looking for someone, we discuss it later. And when I was hired, I was told that I'll be getting paid $160 per day. And
Okay,
the hours
Your Honor,
was
that's not
never
correct.
really discussed either, but it was said 10 to 12, sometimes it would be up to 14, 16 hours. I had to stay in the house. I mean, they gave me cute little room, but I can't just be a nanny all the time unless when I'm sleeping and then plus cleaning. And I'm sorry if I'm not that good of a cleaner, but I wasn't
But that's what
planning
you were
on
hired to
doing
do.
that.
You were not hired to be the cleaner.
Judge Hatchett's verdict when we return. You're watching The Verdict with Judge Hatchett.
You had 2 people, now you're down to 1. I'm going to cut through this bottom line. She is going to get every dime of what she is suing you for. And in fact, I don't think she sued you for enough. But her claim is for $2,400, and I am entering an order. It is not right to take advantage of people who come to this country and work incredibly long hours to care for your children while you're at work. This woman was essential to your children's welfare, and because you should have, without being asked, you should have treated her fairly. Judgment for the plaintiff for $2,400.
Judge Hatchett has ruled in favor of the plaintiff. The defendant has been ordered to pay $2,400.
I'm really glad Judge understood my situation. This money will really help.
I'm sorry that it came to this. I never intended to take advantage of you. I'll get you the money as soon as possible.
This has been a production